We're back, baby.
Back.
Worship Artistry.
Back in the saddle again.
Jason and Nick from Worship Artistry. Bam, bam.
I've been throwing ninja kicks and like stuff like since I was a child. So
You're pretty good at it.
Tell me how good.
Yeah, you're very good. Have you ever broken a board?
Actually, yeah, I took 3 days of taekwondo when I was in the second grade.
They teach you right away.
They sure did.
It's kind of like a big part of it.
They were super. I could do the fist one.
Ooh,
that was it though.
I don't know if I ever got to do the fist. I did a front kick one.
Oh, nice.
I took him in the basement of a church.
Oh, perfect.
With Master Cho.
Master Cho.
I made it to yellow stripe.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I got a belt because I took 3 days.
Yeah, well, you got it probably just as far as me. Master Cho always told me pain is good.
Pain is good.
And I was like, I don't think that's true. But now I actually do believe that's true.
I want that pain.
I believe it's true a little bit.
It can be.
In some ways.
Yep.
But, well, man, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We're not going to dwell on this.
No.
Because I hate in the new year when everybody's like, here's my things for the new year. We're not going to talk about that. We're actually going to talk about the future.
That's right.
But first, I want to know, are you a New Year's resolution person?
We know for years I've acted like I was and I wanted to be, and I'd write them down. And like, I remember one year I was like, goodness, I think maybe 25. And so about 11 years ago, crazy. And well, I was like, I want to start a blog. Oh, I was like, I'm going to start blogging. And that was the resolution.
This was about 2002.
Right. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And I was really late to the game already to blogging, right? Mm-hmm. And I felt really good about it for like 5 days, and I blogged every day, and I was like, well, nobody cares. I had like 0 likes or looks even at my blog and all this other stuff, and I was like reposting it to my Facebook, and like nobody would like that even. And I was like, well, what is this? This is so stupid. New Year's resolutions are dumb. They're designed to set us up for failure and to make us feel embarrassed. That's what I said. And so, no, I don't.
You blogged it.
Yeah, I blogged that. Yeah. I don't like resolutions anymore. I think they're kind of dumb, personally. I think it's good to be goal-oriented. But I don't know. The resolution thing is a strange thing to me.
Yeah.
But I do have goals for the new year. Like, for instance, like this year, 2025, I plan to get older and fatter. You know, that's my resolution.
Nice. I know you're going to achieve one of those for sure.
Fatter. Yes. But no, for real, I do want to get better at guitar. I will this year, much like last year, strive to just really expand what I know. Just really expand what I know. And hopefully that will help me get further out of my box, but not so far out of the box. Like I was telling you the other day, I wrote a new song for Instagram and I sent it to my wife, and she's like, don't ever show anybody this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I got too far out of my box. that box was,
maybe, stay in the box of the right key.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be good. But yeah, just guitar stuff. And I really am just excited for, honestly, just the future, like what we're going to be talking about. Just, I don't know. It's an exciting time for me because the last several years of my life have been really surrounded by death. And, so far there's nobody like going to die or like, fingers crossed. Like that's my resolution. Don't die, I guess. Yeah. Knock on wood. But, it feels like it's going to be a really good year. Yeah. Like the last few years, God has just been stringing the arrow on the bow, right? And he's been pulling back, and right now he's ready to release. Okay. And we're going to be shot forward with trajectory. It's going to be awesome, Jason.
That's great news. That's great news.
What about you? Do you do resolutions?
I think I'm like you. I think I kind of am more goal oriented. I like to sit down and write down some goals, and they're usually more, habit related. Or one goal that I have failed at for a number of years, and it's on my goal again, is I really want to play guitar more for fun.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it, like because there's so much of my work goes into teaching the lessons on worship artistry. And, like learning these songs and teaching these songs. And then when I'm writing, I'm typically writing for my church, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. But also there's always like a purpose to it, And I think when you're a creative, like there is always kind of a purpose to most things. But I've just been over the last couple of weeks, even just kind of over break, just really trying to just pick up my guitar and play it. Like be inspired by what I have and just make a little room and not try and make something. Right. Typically, it still turns into something.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's just, but it's not like the goal.
Yeah. I think that's just who you are,
right.
though, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's just kind of like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll put that down and maybe never use it or.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of fun. Like I got a little Ditto looper, which has been so fun to me. Now, I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan, though, of like, the long loop. It's like, look at I can loop.
Yeah.
That stuff kind of bores the heck out of me. But for learning parts and coming up with unique things and finding ways to practice and just sit in something for a while, it's been really fun.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of more just wanting to play, have fun with that. There's a number of things that I am trying to get out the door this year. I do want to release this album I recorded.
I just heard it. Excellent. Seriously, and I wouldn't just say that. You know that.
I know.
You know that.
I'm like, what do you think? And then I'm just like,
yeah, don't tell me.
He's like, I actually like this.
Yeah, I really liked it.
So
awesome.
that was good. That's good news.
Yeah, it was excellent.
So I'm excited to do that, but I need to figure out how to do that. Like, there's definitely more to it than just I recorded an album.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
like
kind of the next steps. Same thing. I actually started a podcast a while back. I started interviewing for this idea.
Okay.
Which I think is actually going to bleed into our topic today.
Oh, good.
But just it's about worship, but it's a different thing than what we're doing here. And I went back and just started listening to the interviews that I did, and I was like, these are awesome.
Right. Yeah.
I can't wait to put this thing together because it's not just like an interview podcast. It's more narrative. It's more story. But I would actually listen to myself interviewing these people, and I'd be like, I'm gonna need to go back because I'm gonna need to ask them this question next, and then I'd ask them that question in the interview, and I was like,
nice.
Already got it.
There you go.
Already got it. So very excited to do that. So a number of things on the horizon. But yeah, nothing, I'm writing them down in a note. And I might my wife, on the other hand, went through 24 that she did last year.
Oh, really?
And there was 2 she didn't quite get. It's pretty impressive.
With future gear predictions, let's go ahead and start with that.
Start with gear.
I was actually watching something the other day. I do not remember what it was. I can't recall. I was trying to this morning, actually. Maybe a friend sent it to me, Addison.
So Addison, not from JHS anymore.
Right, yeah, Addison Savan. Does a bunch of mixing in the Nashville area. You got to meet him, and we actually have a vlog coming out here soon that'll showcase him.
He's kind of one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Dude.
I'm like,
isn't he just so sweet? I love him.
Is this real?
I love
real?
Addison
And you're like,
so much.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I think he sent a video to a group I'm in, maybe, or I don't know. There's a bunch of groups I'm in, and we talk about gear. That's it, and it all just kind of goes together, right? Well, anyway, there were some people talking, I think reverb.com people, and they were saying the number one thing that sold last year. What would you guess it is?
The Wong press.
The Wong press. Close. I bet that's close. It was the Quad Cortex.
Oh, yeah.
It was modeler stuff.
Sure.
And I think they said the least sold thing was amps or something like that. Maybe I'm way wrong. Maybe I just watched this on YouTube. Who cares? Who knows? But Addison, we love you here. It was really interesting to me because I'm getting ready to sell my Quad Cortex. So that was good news for me that it'll sell.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm selling it because I'm really seeing a shift in moving to amps. I've seen a bunch of people trying to go to amps and stuff. And one thing that's really funny to me is amps are expensive.
That they are.
You cannot buy an amp. Okay, a Tone X1 pedal is $130 or $180 maybe.
Sure.
You cannot buy an amp for that. No, not at all.
No.
I mean, maybe a used one that really sucks.
Maybe like a PD Rage.
Yeah,
if they're still making those.
Yeah, those are sick. But that was my first amp. Yeah. But you can't do that. And then what you can do and how good these captures sound.
It's crazy.
You just got a modeler,
yeah,
right?
It's got the Ampero too.
Yeah, and does it capture as well?
It does captures. I can't wait to actually do some capturing because I haven't done that yet.
I want to capture my D25s for you.
But I would love to.
Yeah.
But it is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually came up, I was working with it late last night, just learning how to do it. I'm not a big modeler guy, so it was intuitive, but not super intuitive. And now I'm getting the hang of it. But man, it is really cool that you can just be like, oh, I want to use this pedal and I want to use this amp. And it's like,
And it sounds
That pretty much sounds like it.
right. Yeah, it's crazy how good modeling is.
Yeah.
But they were saying like the quad cortex is sold the most and like modelers and all these other things. But I've seen personally in my, I don't follow very many people and my community is very small technically. But I've just seen a ton of worship players trying to go to amps. But again, it's kind of funny to me because they have these amps and they're good. But when you do have amps and you do carry them in, out, and load, whatever, you do all this work, you have to take care of those amps.
They're heavy.
They're heavy. They're so heavy. They have so many
is.
parts. I'll never forget. I will never use an amp for a parade ever again. Because one time I did. I was on the float, and then my tone just got super thin and like
I love
buzzy.
that we've both been in parades playing guitar.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. And I just looked down at my tube, my amp, and all my tubes were rolling around the float. I was like, what is going on?
Why can't I hear anything?
Yeah, it's so terrible. I kept turning up drives and like, I had no idea.
Only on the Worship Artistry channel will you get commentary on parade playing
Right.
for guitar.
These are the real issues.
It's a niche.
But yeah, like they're just saying like amps are, really kind of out and stuff, and talking with a bunch of different companies, they had a horrible year, I guess, for like their sales with amps and pedals and just gear. Inflation's a lot right now, and then with the potential tariffs, who knows what's going to happen there too. So it might even get harder.
If anyone's trying to offload some amps,
Yeah,
I'm open.
we'll take them.
Just you can send them this way if you're just like it's taking up space.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, worship tutorials. But it is funny to me though, because I really thought the amps were going to start coming back more. Mm-hmm. But I don't have a lot of data. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I have a very
anecdotal.
Yeah, I have very small information, but I would love to see that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my future gear prediction. I'm not going to say that amps will come back, but I'm going to say they are going to start becoming popular again.
They should come back.
There you go. They should come back. I would love to see more worship players play Rev stuff because it's so easy. Like it's a direct solution. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like that's how we record a lot of our stuff with just XLR right out of the back of the amp. So that's my future gear prediction. I think personally is just I would like to see amps come back a little bit more. Maybe not like take over the world again.
Sure,
but I'd like to see them back.
Well, I think a lot of times one of the reasons why amps went away, right, is because like they're heavy and stuff, and they're loud.
Yeah.
And churches were like, well, we got to go to the silent stage and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And and I understand that there's inconvenience to that. At the same time, I also, like I said, I've been really enjoying this Ampero.
Yeah.
I played around with the Helix a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
This one's got a touch screen and it's just nice to work with.
It looks cool too.
It sounds good. It took me a little while to like dial it in, but I think I texted you last time. I'm like, dude, I got it.
Yeah, you did. It sounds awesome.
I was really, really excited. I'm gonna have some on the Instagram about it.
There you go.
On my Instagram,
Jason
Houtsma.
There you go.
But good luck spelling Houtsma. Recently, I've been just kind of playing around with my amp more, and it's difficult because it's an AC30 and the thing is just loud. It's to the point where I'm like, is it time for me to sell my AC30? Which I'll probably get like $20 for it now, apparently, because nobody wants them. Just because it's so loud that it's almost like unusable in my house. On New Year's Eve.
It's kind of comical.
On New Year's Eve, we went down to, I was like, hey, I got to show my buddy. So I'll talk about this pedal in a minute. But my buddy's like, dude, show me that new Jack White pedal you got. Let's go play some. I want to hear it.
I want to play it.
So we went down. I'm like, check it out. I start playing. Well, my friend's kid was back from college. He gets on the drums, starts playing. We start having a great time. Then we swap. I go over the drums. He gets on the board. He's just like so stoked that these got like effects and everything. So he's playing around with them, and we're having a blast. People are coming down, everything. Finally, but for the most part, the girls stay upstairs, right? Well, we come walking upstairs, and one of the guys like, dude, did you hear that? And I was like, oh, they heard it.
Oh, they heard all
Yeah,
it.
Don't worry. They heard every note.
They couldn't hear themselves.
They were probably screaming. They probably just stopped talking for a while and maybe went outside.
Oh, those boys, they're having fun.
It was plenty loud, and that thing was set on like 1.
Yeah, right.
So I do understand that there's like differences, but I think with a lot of the gear that's coming out, like we've been playing with your D20 and like the ability to change the wattage, like I was like, I could literally just have this in my living room.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And man, there's just something joyful about when the air moves.
Yes, there is.
Like there's it's just different.
Yep.
And I can sit there and I can go, this modeler is great and it sounds perfect and it's very utilitarian and just what I need.
Correct.
At the same time, I'm kind of moving more towards, and this is kind of the direction that I'm going with thinking about gear this year is I'm kind of going towards the impractical.
Sure.
Because I've been so practical for so long.
Right, yeah.
And I'm realizing like, you know, there's just more joy. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I just want to use this because I like it.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about it on the board. You're going to look at my pedal board and be like, what?
What the heck is that?
What did
thing?
you put on there?
Some cool.
And then I'm sure somebody's going to be like, you don't need that for worship. And I'm like,
totally.
you're right, I don't.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I can use it.
Yep.
And it's inspiring all these different things. So
Exactly.
I think that they're going more towards like, let's try some impractical stuff. You and I went to East Side Supply.
Oh, that's so awesome in Nashville.
Nashville, and there was a million pedals, and you know I kind of get a rap that like you know Nick is the guy that likes guitar gear and pedals and tone, and Jason's the guy that just plays guitar. I think somebody commented like, and Jason just makes jokes.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody did
like
say
this
that.
guy knows what he's talking about, and Jason just jokes around. That's true. That's fair.
I love that comment.
Yeah, me too.
That's funny.
That's fair, but. It was funny
It's
because
also not true, but-
we were at East Side Supply. We plugged in this fuzz. It was like a skyrocket fuzz or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Space rocket or
Yeah.
skyrocket or.
And I looked at you and I went, dude, it's not that I don't like gear. It's I'm just tired of worship gear.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a shot at it at all.
Yep.
I'm just like, man, I just know what this thing does and I know how to make it sound like this. And everyone's kind of aiming for the same tone all the time. And there's something about just throwing on a spitty octave fuzz and going, this is just different.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how I like. I'm looking this year in like in the gear world of going, man, what's making it fun?
Yeah.
What's making it enjoyable? And that might be a little less practical, maybe not, you know. But I think that chasing that creativity and those things that are maybe outside what we're used to hearing would make a big difference.
I think that does make a big difference because I personally can't stand those comments that are like, well, you will never use this for worship. Cool. I know I won't. That's not why I have this thing. I play other music.
Yep.
Worship music is a genre.
Oh, don't say that.
What?
It's true, but don't say
it. It is.
Let's say modern worship is a genre.
There you go.
But worship music isn't a genre. Like you can play worship music in any kind of thing. This is just, sorry, you hit one of my buttons.
I'll fight you. Because
You'll win.
I think that music is so, I think we just really try to get too deep into it personally. That's just how I view a lot of music. There's so many stupid genres and subgenres and like Reddit genres, I'm sure. Like, you know, it's there's a rabbit trail of all kinds of genres. And so for me, I do look at worship music as like an encompassing genre, but it's not like reverbs and delays only.
Right.
It can be fuzzes. It can be all of these things. And I think it should be. And listening to your album that's coming out, I thought it was excellent because, well, it's not the only reason. It sounded different. And it sounded very like, I really don't know a good, fresh, I guess.
Okay, I'll take it.
To me, it felt that way because like I have, you know, and we're moving on to like what kind of music we've been listening to and like where we see music going. And like the kind of music I do listen to, I love reggae music. A lot of people don't know that about me. I've always loved it my whole life. It's fun. It's a very good message most of the time. It's very uplifting, you know, much like I think worship music is. It's very great message, wonderful music. But I'm much like reggae. I don't typically go for the mainstream things because it's all the same. It's all like just.
Right.
You know, just it's all the same beats, like reggaeton to me. But worship music, modern worship music that's on the radio, CCM, whatever you want to call it. I don't like that personally because it is all the same. And it's like, all right, we got to write this song to make money. That's how I feel when I listen to those things. And I'm really not saying anything bad. I'm really not. It's just my personal opinion on the matter. I like a lot of modern worship. I really do. but a lot of it just sounds the same. Much like if you look at pop music, that genre all sounds the same. If you look at rock, that all sounds the same. Each genre you get compartmentalized, I think, and it all ends up sounding the same. So listening to your worship music was excellent to me because it was so much. I don't know if the word is better, but it was different. So I thought it was better.
Well, and the thing about that is, it's not like I'm doing something super genius or something that anybody's never done before.
Sure, yeah.
It's just that I'm listening to different music, right? So I'm not just listening to one genre. I'm pulling in all kinds of things. Like even recording, I was like, oh, there's a little Sufjan in there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's, like I listen to a lot of singer-songwriters. I listen to stuff all over the place. And so those all get in there whether I mean for them to or not. But let's look at like the future of music. Like obviously I'm being influenced by some things.
Right.
What kind of music are you listening to that you could see maybe finding its way into the worship world?
There's a guy, it's an older album now, but I can't stop listening to it. I want to say it's like 2017 or 19 maybe.
So old.
Yeah, so old, goodness. I want to say his name's Brolly, Brolly, Brolly. And there's a song called Hey Mama. Oh my goodness, dude. Like, and he's very singer-songwriter feeling to me. But also it's like, he does have these like big reverbs, but he doesn't use them like the band or I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's just a single person. I don't know anything about them. I just know I love the way it makes me feel, and I wish that this would be more mainstream because it also feels. Did you ever listen to Ascend the Hill? They did like a hymnal album that I loved.
Yeah, I think you played them for me.
Goodness, dude, they're so stinking good.
Yeah,
and it really reminds me of that. Not the same musically, not lyrically, but it brings me to a place that worship album takes me to.
Yeah, it moves you in that same way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I listen to more like Elevations or the new popular kind of things, not underground stuff. I don't really connect with that. But yeah, I've been really listening to a lot of Brolly or Brolly, however you say it. I really, really like him. And actually, Christina and I were talking about that in the office the other day. And I was like, whoa, you know him? She's like, yeah, he's amazing. And I was like, you're cooler than I thought. She's awesome. But that was really cool to be able to talk with somebody because I think my friend Bryce, she and I were the only ones that kind of knew of him. And then she's like, oh, he's wonderful. Because not many people listen to him on Spotify.
I'll have to check it out.
Excellent. What about you? What have you been listening to?
In the worship world, I've actually, a while back, I got involved in a group called Anchor Hymns.
Yeah.
I got invited to a retreat. I think I'm on a song that's coming out.
Is that the one you sent me?
Yeah.
That one was cool. Yeah.
I think it's which is kind of exciting. Because I was like, if you just need to replace it, just do it.
Was that with the Citizens guy? Yeah.
So I think that's coming out soon. But the thing that I like about what they're doing is they do like songs that are, some of them are call and response. They're very congregational in a lot of different ways.
Sure.
And so, I can listen to there's this one, I think it's called This Is Love. And it's just repeating like back and forth. And I've been like doing that with my church of like, okay, I'm going to sing this, then you're going to sing this back to me. And there's like this really beautiful thing that happens. They recorded their last album in a place called Black Abbey, which is a brewery.
Oh, wow.
In Nashville. And they recorded it live. It's awesome.
I bet. Yeah.
Sandra McCracken's involved, Taylor Leonard, Zach Boland, DeJuan Hill. All these, there's like a ton of amazing people, and then somehow I got invited. It was weird.
Well, you're an amazing person.
I'm like, I don't belong here.
You do.
But it's imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Very alive and well in me at that retreat.
I bet. Yeah.
But that's been something that I've really been enjoying. So if you just check out Anchor Hymns, I actually one of my New Year's goals with this with our videos is to start highlighting other artists.
Yeah.
Because I think in a lot of ways, I hear sometimes worship leaders are a pretty jaded group. And there's kind of this like...
How so? Could you go into that a little bit?
So, it's kind of... You hear it under a lot of things that people say, right? Like, oh, the music all sounds the same. Or, we're doing this song. And they're not like excited about it. They're just like, we got to do this song. They're not going to talk about that with their buddies on Friday, they're going to talk about other music. They're going to be excited about other things. You know, when we were working on putting the studio together, right? We weren't listening to worship music. We were listening to all kinds of other stuff that we were stoked about, right? Yeah, so often we're inspired by other things. But I think we're also pretty lazy.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, we sit there and go, oh, everything's kind of the same. Like, well, no, it's not.
Correct.
There's so much music coming out. You just have to do a little work to find it.
Right.
Like, just because Spotify didn't throw it in front of you and say, like, here's the new greatest worship song. Like, there's a lot of great stuff out there. And so one of my goals is for us to actually listen to some of that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And do some of that work and go like, hey, check this out. Some of it might not be stuff we even like that much, but you can go like, man, that's a good song for somebody else for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think we're just being lazy. If we're bored, you know, if you're bored, you're boring.
Yeah. Well, I think that we need to have more challenging songs throughout the year, so that way Christmas is easier.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yes.
I think we have a word from our sponsor. We have a new sponsor.
That is true.
Hey, Nick.
Yes, Jason.
Do you ever play worship songs?
Yeah, all the time.
Have you ever tried worship artistry?
Actually, I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Well, worship artistry has over 700 song tutorials for...
Let me look at my script.
Hold on.
Holy cow.
They put that in there?
That
was edgy.
Yeah, that was edgy. Yeah.
And they have over 700 song tutorials of all the latest worship songs.
Wow.
And you can go learn them. Oh, you can sign up for free.
Mine says 21 days.
And then it's like, oh yeah, 21 day, yeah.
Yep.
And then I guess you can actually, I mean, if you break it down, like I'm looking at these prices and like, you know, people say like, oh, for the price of a cup of coffee,
you could learn.
You could get a lot better at guitar.
You could get
for
way
the price of like
better
one guitar lesson. You could have it for the year.
Man, I hope they liked this.
For
ad.
Yeah, like, so go check that out.
Worshipartistry.com. This video.
Thank you, Worship Artistry.
To our sponsors at Worship Artistry.
We'll catch you later.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you know, I actually had an interesting conversation. You know, a lot of times people talk about having a hard time keeping people on the team or growing the team.
Yeah.
And what I have found, I found this with my own team, I've also found it with some other friends of mine who are worship leaders, is that when you actually push more difficult music, people actually get more excited about it.
Right.
Because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is fun. We're not just doing those same four chords, right? And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of things out there that we could probably stop limiting ourselves to like, well, it can only be in this key and these four chords. Like, people know how to learn stuff.
Yeah.
They're smart.
I would love to see like this year and, you know, for the next 5-10 years, whatever, I would love to see it get a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Not so much though, that it's like, all right, we're doing this in 9/7 time.
Right.
What?
Right. Why?
Okay.
People are having
1, 2, 3.
So my friend just told me that they were in church and the pastor like made fun of everybody after the song was over because nobody knew how to clap.
Oh, perfect.
He was like, we tried to do this new song, and he was just like, okay, New Year's resolution, we're all going to learn about 2 and 4.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
They were like, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's so funny. Or where do you want to see music go?
Sure, yeah. You know, I think, I personally, and I don't know if it will.
Sure.
But what I really want to see happen, because I've seen the benefit in my own life, is I want to see worship pastors be willing to mentor their teams. You know, I think for whatever reason, you know, whether it's because of excellence or whatever, but like the more the church has moved towards creating this product, that the Sunday gathering is the product.
Right.
I don't know where people get mentored anymore. Like when I was growing up, you know, my youth pastor was he sang, he was all about getting us involved. Then we got thrown up on stage with the adults and they'd put me next to another electric guitar player and I wouldn't be turned up at all. And then, you know, I'd be shredding the whole time and he'd be like, yeah, maybe play a little less, you know? And I learned, right? And I got to make mistakes and I got to grow. And like that church still, like now it's amazing. I was talking to somebody who's one of the pastors there now. He's like, oh, we have like 9 community centers now.
Wow.
Where people come and we just teach. We teach how to play guitar. We teach how to play
That's pretty cool.
and there's all this like what a legacy, you know? And I don't know what kind of legacy the church is going to have if the main thing is to reproduce what I saw on Instagram or YouTube and like, that's what we need to have.
Sure.
So, hey, 20-year-old, get up there and do that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, there's not a lot of mentoring. I've had a number of mentors in my life, you know, and I've tried to mentor the people around me. But I never hear conversations drift that way. I always say it's always about like, well, what did you buy for this thing? Or what song are you doing? Or how are you doing this? And it's like, where are we actually learning from other people? Because, you know, a song tutorial on worship artistry can only do so much.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. It can teach you where to put your fingers, but it doesn't teach you how to be a worshiper.
Correct.
It doesn't teach you how to lead.
Yep.
You know, we can make videos about that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not the same as me coming up to you and saying, hey, man, you know, when you said this, I think it might have really hurt that person's feelings over there. Like, you need to think about how you talk. First of all, you should probably go talk to them.
Right, yeah.
You know, and then think about, like, what you really meant by that and how can you encourage that person and help them grow.
No, that's good.
You know, like, we tend to just kind of shift people to resources. Hey, here's your planning center invite. Here's all your chord charts. See you on Sunday. And I'm like, no, what I'd really like to see happen is for worship pastors to really take their role of pastoring their teams really seriously.
Yeah.
And then to also pastor their congregation. Like, we're not jukeboxes.
Sure.
Right? Like, they're going, you know, sometimes people come up and like, I want to do this song. And you listen to it and you're like, well, there's a reason why we're not going to do that song. It doesn't fit our culture and blah, 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 blah. Right? Other times it's like, y'all go learn that. That's a good song.
Right.
You know? You know, I was saying how people complain about music and get kind of jaded. And it's like, I just want success stories out there. There's so many stories about how things have gone wrong. Everybody's got church hurt. Everybody's had bad experiences. You know, it's our drummer said to me the other day, my friend, he's like, man, you know, it's important that have these Mars Hill podcasts and like these things of seeing what's gone wrong.
Yeah, sure.
We need to hear more about what's going right.
Yeah.
We need to know that there are still good stories out there. And so I don't know, like that's another thing that I've been kind of looking at as goals for the year. And like what I want to pull forward is like, how do we pull some of those stories forward?
Yeah.
Not just about don't do this. This is bad. Oh, I hated that this happened. And I'm talking to myself too. And instead go like, man, what is working? And how do we call attention to that? Because it's so much more compelling than just going like, well, this music's boring, you know, or this music is, it's all kind of the same. You know, it's like, well, let's take responsibility and step into it because
do something about it.
There's so much good music out there. We're going to do it. We're going to help. So follow us. Make sure you subscribe and do those things. We're going to help.
All of it. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it. You can hold us accountable.
Yeah.
You can give us suggestions. Here's the thing, man. I mean, I only have so many suggestions to go. So go in the comments, tell us who you're listening to. What's inspiring you?
Our sponsor, Worship Artistry, is listening too. They'll see the comments.
That's right. Definitely. Yes. Yeah. Our sponsor, worshipartistry.com, that teaches amazing worship song tutorials.
And that'll give us the opportunity to keep making these videos for you guys because they'll keep sponsoring us.
That's right. Exactly.
So this is great.
Well, yeah, where I see music going, or where I hope it goes, is I'd like to see it get more localized.
What, like in a local church or like literally?
Yeah, like I'd like to see gifted people be about their local communities and write for those people. You know, we're talking about my record, right?
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it doesn't sound like other things.
Correct. Yeah,
that's because I wrote it for this small group of people.
Yeah.
And I'm okay if they're the only people that listen to it and like it. I'm glad you like it.
They'll love it. Yeah. Have they heard it at all yet?
Just the part that I recorded them on.
Oh, okay.
So I recorded them in a couple like strategic parts. But they know all the songs.
Sure, yeah.
I have told them, I'm like, some of them might end up being different because these weren't recorded for a long time. I've sang them in a lot of different ways.
Right, yeah.
Like, but this is the way now. You have to listen to it a million times on Spotify so that you know how it is, because now we're going to sing it this way.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's like, those songs were written by me for those people.
Sure.
And I think that's part of why they sound different. And, you know, I don't own a lot of this. A lot of the big songs that are out there, I don't own them in the same way that I own those songs because I was thinking about something very specific.
Sure.
You know, when I wrote that song. And the thing is, you know, I look around, I feel like you can't throw a rock now without like hitting a worship songwriting collective, right? I mean, we have friends over at Worship Coalition. We got our friend at the Table Songs. We got like,
there's all kinds of them.
All the people that follow me on Instagram are all like, hey, we're doing our worship songwriting thing. And so I think that there's like something bubbling up. I think it'll fail massively if it's just trying to write the next big song.
I think so too.
And I think if it focuses on, I'm trying to write for this group of people that I'm a shepherd for.
Yeah.
I think they're probably not going to blow up. And I think that they'll also have way more impact.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm seeing the fruit of that. Like I said, there's a whole podcast that's going to be about this. It's a long story.
Sure.
But I'm getting to see the fruit of a lot of that work and how beautiful it is. And so my hope is that musically we diversify because it fits the community. That like a church in San Diego is writing different music because their local music scene is different.
Right, yeah.
So therefore the music that they're writing for their church is different than it is in North Carolina or in Washington or New Jersey, right?
Perfect,
like, I think that's amazing. That's what I want to happen. I don't know if it does happen, I don't know if we'll hear about it.
Sure.
Because it won't be shoved down our throats.
Yeah.
You know,
it won't be on the radio.
But it's probably that was too aggressive of a statement. But you know, we won't see it everywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that if churches do, if writers stop trying to think, I want to do this so that I can do this big thing. Big thing's already done.
Yeah.
We've got tons of people doing that. You got to dethrone somebody else if you want to do that.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Probably not going to happen
Probably not.
anytime soon.
Yep.
But you can be very impactful in the place that you're at. And so my hope is that we end up having a much more diverse group of musicians.
That'd be awesome.
And writers. And I think that like, I'm willing to go out and try and find those.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's like I said, like Anchor Hymns, like those people are all incredible. You know, I mean, Paul Balash has written Open the Eyes of My Heart. And he's also written these other things. They all sound like Paul Balash.
Never heard of him.
But the thing was though, like he was just a guy.
Yep, exactly.
Singing Open the Eyes of My Heart at his church. You know?
Exactly. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. Like maybe let's encourage that.
I would say, like, outside of the modern worship machine, that's how most worship songs came about, right? It was for their local church. And then all of a sudden, we're all like, this idea is too good. We got to make money on it somehow. You know, like, how do we keep recreating this moment, you know? And
like, if I was a writer on most of the songs in the CCLI Top 100, they would all sound the same.
Correct.
Because my songs all just sound like me.
Correct.
You know? And so does everybody else's, you know?
Yeah. And it's like all these, so it's fun. I think it is funny that there are so many collectives, worship collectives, but I like that. I love that there's a lot, but I do find it funny. Only because like everybody's using similar names, it seems. But the one I think about is Hymnal Records. And I like it because I've only been recently following them. And they're a smaller one, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like it because they seem to be doing what you're talking about.
Right.
Trying to write for like their local like collective or community, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's not just the same types of music. Like I think there's a guy, he's been on the channel, or I think a few times, Ron Pye.
Yeah.
And he's a part of it, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think he was the first one I heard speak about it or post about it. And yeah, it was interesting because it wasn't like stuff that like I would actively just choose to listen to.
Right.
But once I forced myself to, because I was just, I don't know Ron, but I consider him a friendly guy. But like,
I know Ron. He's great.
Yeah. I've heard great things.
Would you like me to introduce you?
I would love to
He's
talk
super
with Ron.
nice.
But it was fun because I forced myself to listen to something that I ended up really liking. But initially I was like, well, this is a little different, you know, because we give 5 seconds to anything anymore. Right. Yeah, I think even on Instagram it says, make sure your first 3 seconds are the best. Because if, you know, they can't like it in 3
gets
seconds.
You there. It takes you a while.
Exactly. You know? And so you got to really listen to stuff. You got to have some time and sit down with good music. It's like a good book. You can't sit down with Lord of the Rings and be like, all right, I got 2 hours. I'm going to read all of them. No, you're an idiot. Like you can't even watch one movie in 2 hours. Like they're like 3 hours. So it's like good things take a long time.
Yeah, they do.
And I think you were talking about that with the Triplegraph, the new pedal you got, because you're saying like it took 2 years to develop, or there's
like
a
4
60
or something like
there's
that.
like a
That's crazy.
60-page book,
Right.
Like talking about
all the mistakes.
yeah, and how long it took for them to get it right.
Right.
And it's worth it. You're saying like you're like, this is amazing. And there are some pedal companies out there that are like, all right, we got to get it out,
Right.
And we don't care if it doesn't work. We'll fix that later. If the problem arises, we'll fix it later.
Yeah.
Trying to wrap this up finally, and we're gonna land the plane.
Yeah.
I think looking back, this year is going to be excellent. I think for worship artistry, I really do. I think for us, it's going to be a wonderful year.
We got a lot of ideas.
We got a lot of good things coming down the pipeline, and we really hope that you guys enjoy that and share it with others. But as far as like looking for future gear predictions, I really do hope amps come back. I think modelers are still going to be at the top of the line kind of thing. But I do hope people, if you've never bought an amp, I challenge you to buy one amp this year, please. Let me know about it.
It is a different thing, man.
It is.
It really is.
Even if you don't use it live. Okay, so I get it. I used to look at buying an amp as like, if I'm not going to play this thing live, I should not have this thing. That's how anything I ever bought.
Buy one you can play in your house.
Yes. Do that, please. Because when I did that, I started playing guitar so much more because it wasn't as fun to put my headphones in and play guitar or have like my studio monitors blaring. But for whatever reason, even the guitar amp at a low volume, just sitting next to it, and you're just noodling. It's not even super loud. That has been so much more beneficial for me. So I challenge you, please just try to find a cheap amp even. I don't care what it is. Just have an amp. It's
Not a
tool.
PV Rage, though.
No.
Those sound terrible.
If you do buy a nicer one, that will be more fun. I promise. But all I'm really getting at is it's a tool. It's another thing in your arsenal that I think you need because it does, at least me, it makes me play differently. I'm inspired to play totally different in front of a modeler because it has everything right in front of me than I am with just an amp. And it's made me a much, much better guitar player and musician. Talking about like, music and where we would like to see that. I really do. Again, just as a recap, I really hope it does get a little bit more challenging this year for musicians. Not so much that it's like discouraging, right?
Well, and not something that's going to throw everybody.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
That's
but just
like,
weird. How can you bring more artistry into your playing?
Yeah.
Right? Like what if we added this chord?
Exactly.
Like what if we threw this like diminished 9 in there because we knew how to do it?
Correct.
And then it was like, man, that becomes the part in the song that nobody in the church notices, but everyone in the band is like, ooh.
You know what, too? Like watching these IEM videos made me think of this. A lot of IEM videos are like, we threw something in on the last minute and look at how we all responded to it. Those people have played together for years, probably, and those people are extremely good musicians, probably. Now, what I want to say to you is, if you're going to try to do the diminished ninth chord, you don't think that it just has to happen on the fly. You can plan for this. You guys can talk about it and be like, "Hey, this chord it ends on the 5, but what if we went to a different chord ending there? Like let's just go to the 2 for some reason. Like I don't care what it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just
a lot of times like throwing little chromatic things in there all of a sudden, and you're like, ooh, or you jump. Yeah, we should do a little thing on like fun little things to add to songs.
That's good.
That would be a good video.
But you can plan for that. And, a lot of people, I would say on Instagram and social media in general, it's fake. Like we added this, and it makes it seem like they just added it live. But no, they added it in practice.
Sure,
a lot of the times. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we nailed that. And so social media makes it really seem like everybody has it perfect. I guarantee you go to my page, the last video that I posted, I probably did 50 takes for the solo. Probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, any video that I post is always like, I went through so much. I'm about to post one of like this just little thing of the Ampero.
Yeah.
It's taken me hours.
Sure, yeah.
Hours upon hours to like find that exact thing I wanted to play, to have this like little cool loopy thing, and to get the lights right, and now I'm like, okay, I should do something else. Well, everything's set up this way because it's gonna be a while before it's like that again. You know,
don't think all these people have it together. Don't think we have it together. Trust me, we don't.
We're winging it, guys.
I mean, this video alone, I'll be honest, like the audio cut out once one of the cameras shut off.
Yeah. And we've definitely talked about way more than you have seen in this video.
I promise you. I promise. And so
Nick has an editing job ahead of him.
I do. It sucks. But please, please just have patience and have kindness to yourself. I am not kind to myself. And it took me a very long time to be able to get to, nobody knows what they're doing. For the most part, right? And so I've learned so many like professionals at conferences that like, there's like, I didn't write anything. I'm just going to wing it, you know? Like, well, you're teaching us. Hope it goes well. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you guys don't have it together. If you don't think you do, chances are you have it a lot more together.
Watch our imposter syndrome
Exactly.
video.
You have it a lot more together than you think. But as Jason's already said, please subscribe, ring the bell to be notified. We love for that for this 2025 year, for you to go on this journey with us, to get better at being a musician, whether that's piano, bass, drums, guitar, singing. We help you with that through worshipartistry.com. Oh, our sponsor helps you with that through worshipartistry.com.
That's right. Thank you, worshipartistry.com, for sponsoring this video
and being the first video of 2025 for us on our Worship Artistry channel. It's crazy how
it's amazing we have the same name.
It's so crazy. It's
bizarre.
It's wild. But seriously, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Hit us up in the comments. Hit us up on Instagram. Email us. Go on the website. You can do anything to get in touch with us. We want to talk with you. And what's crazy is if you do get an email back from us, guess what?
It was us.
It's us. It's not just some bot or some random person working in the office. It's us. Drop your comments below of the gear predictions and where you would like to see, worship music going.
Yeah. What songs should we be checking out?
Are we way wrong? Are we way off?
Are we idiots?
All these.
It's possible.
All these things. What songs? What other artists? Please let us know, because again, we're just two people, and we can only have. We're very simple, we're very simple-minded people.
We think about this stuff a lot, though.
We do, but it's
doesn't mean they're good thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
It means we have microphones.
Just help us
Thanks,
out.
UA.
Yeah, seriously. I do love these. I like these so much better than the other ones. I really do.
I mean, I know I like the color better.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I like editing it better. So that's
that's.
nice. But anyway,
two checks in the
the UA box. We'll see you guys in the next video, and we hope you have a great start to your year.